What is up, tube users? I am the Stereotypical Gamer, and welcome back to another fantastically fun games for under $15. Today, we are diving into my favorite game in the Far Cry series, Far Cry 4. I think there's a few different reasons why I like Far Cry 4 compared to some of the newer or some of the classic Far Cry games, but I think the biggest reason overall is just the setting for Far Cry 4. I love the kind of Tibetan region that this is in, very mountainous and stuff, and I love all the different ways that you can kind of roam around the map and all the different vehicles and stuff that you can use to get around. I love that it's not about just how big the area is, it's just how kind of small you feel in the area you're playing in. And I think the gameplay loop in the newer Far Cry games, at least from Far Cry 3 onward, have some of my favorite gameplay loops in all of gaming in general. I love going to these different areas, scouting out where all the enemies are, scouting out where the alarm systems are, or if there's any traps that I can use to like bait the enemies and stuff like that. I love doing that and finding a tactical approach to eliminate all the enemies. And I love that there's different ways that you can go about that, right? You can go in guns blazing and just try and eliminate all the enemies before reinforcements come, or you can take the stealthy approach. And the stealth in this game and any of the Far Cry games from 3 onward is really well done. I just love how simplistic it is, right? You have like an arrow that will just fill up if an enemy sees you and stuff like that. And it's just really simplistic to understand, and it just makes for really fun gameplay. And I think that is the best part of just Far Cry games in general. And this game offers so much more. You know, there's an entire storyline, which I think Far Cry 4 has one of the best stories of any of the Far Cry games. I think Far Cry 3 is a little bit better, but Far Cry 4 is still pretty good. And then there's just a bunch of other systems that are really well done. I love the crafting system in this game and how it works, the different syringes and stuff, and how easy it is to gather different materials for crafting is really well done in this game. And I love the overall progression of like unlocking different weaponries and different kind of things to help you along your way. Yeah, so in this game, basically how you unlock weapons is just by kind of playing the game. You know, you go to the radio towers, unlock the radio towers will get you weaponry. I think different story missions and side missions will also unlock different weapons and stuff like that. And I think that's really well done, but I really do like the crafting system in this game. So there's a bunch of different things you can craft, and there's like different levels to it. You can like craft a wallet to hold more money. You can craft a syringe bag to hold more health packs. You can craft an ammo bag to hold more ammo and stuff like that. So, and it's all like just holding more things, right? And I think it's so well done because basically how you craft these items is you have to find certain animal skins, and I love the hunt for these different animals. I'll get into the animals in a little bit because there are some things I really dislike about animals in this game, but I like the idea of the overall crafting of going to these different areas, hunting specific animals for their skins. And I love how you obtain the skins, right? If you use like a AK-47 to take down a animal, it's not going to grant you as much skin as using a bow and arrow because you're damaging it with your bullets and stuff like that. So I really love the crafting system in this game. And I think Far Cry 4 was the first game to do it, but I love the idea of there always being something around you that you can be doing, right? So like maybe you're just like running to your next objective that's like 300 meters away or something, so it's a little bit of a trek, but there's always things around you as you're getting towards your objective to be doing. There's like different crafting materials that you can find randomly around the world, different collectibles that can be found like near where you're trying to go and stuff like that. And then there will be like karma events that will show up randomly near you that like it's just like kill a couple of enemies and it'll boost like your faction weapon, you'll gain some XP and stuff like that. So I really like how there's always stuff to be doing. You're never just like running from one place to another. It feels like there's always just action to be had if you want it. It's not like you have to do all these things. It doesn't hurt you not doing them. So I really like that there's always stuff to do, but it's optional. And I really like the healing system for Far Cry 4. Basically how it works is you have 4 bars of health, and I believe you get more when you level up into higher levels and stuff like that, but using healing syringes will heal you up to full. You can only carry a certain amount of healing syringes, and you can get them, I think you can buy them at the store, or you can craft them by getting green leaves or something like that. And then if you don't have any healing syringes, you can heal each bar one at a time by like taking out a bullet in your arm and stuff like that, or just kind of bandaging yourself. It does take a little bit, so it's kind of hard to heal yourself up to full when you're in combat, but I think it's a really good overall kind of basis for healing in this game. And I love the Far Cry trope of being able to beat the game in the first few minutes of the game itself. And I don't know when this trope started. I don't think it was a thing in Far Cry 1 and 2. It may have been a thing in Far Cry 3, but it was definitely a thing in Far Cry 4 and onward, that you can just complete the game in the first couple of minutes. Basically, in this game, you start out by going and meeting the main bad guy, like for lunch or something like that, and he tells you to sit tight for a bit, and typically you're just supposed to kind of like escape from him, but if you do end up waiting, you kind of bargain with him and are able to just get what you want and kind of end the game there, not really care about the story or anything. And I just love that they have that option for completing the game. Obviously you miss everything about the game entirely, but just having that little fun Easter egg is really fun. But well, I do think Far Cry 4 is the best game in the series. It is far from a perfect game, so let's get into some of the bad aspects of Far Cry 4. I absolutely hate the tankiness of animals in this game, especially because you need to get animal skins for these different pouches and stuff and different upgrades. And the fact that you want to use a bow and arrow to get the most amount of pelts from that animal, the fact that they are so incredibly tanky. I think like just any animal really, especially like some of these smaller animals, are so extremely tanky and bullet spongy that it just feels so unrealistic and is just not fun to try and fight against them. Like the honey badger, for example, is just one of the aggressive creatures in this game. If you get too close to a honey badger, they will try and attack you, and they're probably one of the smallest animals in this game, and they take so many bullets. Like, I feel like I can put a whole round of AK-47 ammo into a honey badger and it won't die. And the fact that you need to use arrows, which are like just less damaging than bullets overall, is just really frustrating, and I absolutely loathe just trying to take down some of these tankier animals. And I hate that there's like no proper execution for animals in this game. Like, for example, just going up against just other NPCs, you can deal headshot damage to kill them quicker and stuff like that. I think animals do have headshots, but they're still so bullet spongy that shooting them in the head doesn't feel any different than shooting them in the body. And then, for example, you can also take out NPCs with your knife and do like a takedown kind of move and stuff like that. You can't do that with different animals, and using your machete or whatever to try and take them down is just so inefficient and doesn't really work all that well unless they're just like a really low health, non-hostile enemy. And then the only other thing that I dislike about this game is the fact that you don't get any sort of silenced weaponry other than a bow early on in this game. The bow mechanics are phenomenal. I love the bows in just the Far Cry games in general, and they're just a really great stealth weapon overall, but I would love to have a silenced actual gun just for certain situations where I find myself not being able to use a bow. Like, for example, against armored enemies, you really have to shoot on point, and if there's like a heavily armored enemy, there's really no way to take them out properly with a bow without them noticing you. And so I just wish early on there was a silence weapon that you could use for those types of enemies. But overall, I still think that Far Cry 4 is my favorite game in the series by far, and I think it still holds up incredibly well. The graphics in this game are just still really well done. The foliage all around still looks really good. I love the landscape of things, just how off in the background you see these giant mountains, and yeah, they do kind of, if you look closely, they do kind of just look like 2D images. You can't really get that close to them, so it's just like 2D mountains way off in the distance, but it really gives you this idea of that you're in this like kind of valley in this mountainous region, and it just still looks stunning overall. And I think the first-person shooting mechanics in this game do feel a little bit dated, but I think they still overall are pretty fun, and just the overall gameplay of things it's still the same as it is in like newer Far Cry games, and it's the same as it was in Far Cry 3. I mean, obviously Far Cry 1 and 2 were a different beast entirely, but it's still the same gameplay overall, and it's something that Far Cry games do really well, is that gameplay loop. And while yes, the first person shooting, I don't really know how to put it, it just kind of, when you're using a machine gun and stuff like that, everything kind of feels more bullet spongy than it should. Like, I mean, I can shoot an enemy that's unarmored with one arrow and they'll get knocked down, but it takes multiple bullets of like an AK just to take down an enemy. So it doesn't really feel like guns in this game have the proper killing ability, I guess, as it were. And they really just kind of went overboard with the bow in this game. And while the bow mechanics are phenomenal, I think the bow in Far Cry games, just any of them, is really well done. I wish they did a better job with the other kind of weapons in this game and made them feel less bullet spongy. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Go check out Far Cry 4 on Steam on sale for only $6. Make sure to comment any other fantastically fun games for under $15 you guys know of, and hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.